Hi, I'm Jason Sullivan of Rathbone Group. I'm here at the NASP Subrogation Conference in Marco Island. I'm here with Mike Jacob of Veritas. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm great, Jason. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
You are a guest. You are a speaker here at the conference. Tell me a little bit about your company.
So we're a forensic engineering lab, and what that means is we look at stuff that's broken in a laboratory setting where we can really get in depth and analyze it pretty deeply.
And as a lawyer, I don't have an engineering background, and I look at this stuff and I say, help me, and you're the guy who does it.
Yeah, at least we try to.
Yeah.
So,
What have you brought today to share with us?
oh man, all sorts of cool stuff. I've got a water filter, a toilet supply line, and a toilet fill valve.
All right, well, I know all of those are related to plumbing. How are they connected?
So in addition to the plumbing connection, all of these products have warning labels that the manufacturers fall back on whenever there's a claim against them.
So they fail, it causes damage to somebody's home, and the manufacturer says, not our fault, we warned you about this.
Right. So we'll say, hey, your product's defective for these reasons. And say, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But, this warning label is a get out of jail free card. And sometimes that's true and sometimes it's not. So not all warning labels are created equal. And as you know, you need to work with your expert to determine, does this warning label pass muster or not?
So what labels do we have on these products specifically?
Okay, so we've got an under the sink water filter here. And these go in the cabinet in the kitchen, under the sink with all of your cleaning products and whatever other things you keep down there. In my kitchen, at least, it's pretty dark down there. I don't have a light down there. So visibility is poor. And while this has a label on it that we can see on this bright sunny Florida day, under your sink, that's a different story. So yeah, there's a label there, but it's pretty hard to see. And that's something that needs to be taken into consideration.
Sure, and how about on that line?
Yeah, so this is a toilet supply line, and as installed, this goes under the tank on the back of the toilet. So it's pretty close to the floor. And then the warning on this, one of the warnings is actually on the bottom of the nut. So to see this as installed, you'd have to get pretty intimate with your toilet there and basically stand on your head. So, we can kind of see it when it's not installed, but once it's in place, it's pretty hard to see, as are the warnings on the label here.
Yeah, I can barely see it just sitting here.
I know, and that's not just because we're not 20 anymore.
That's right.
So this last item, this is a toilet fill valve, and this has a warning label on it, but this goes inside the tank of your toilet. And if you take the lid off of your toilet tank and you look down in, you're going to see the top of this valve. You're not going to see the sides of it because it's down in the tank, but the warning is on the side. With this warning label, we don't have any contrast at all. It's very difficult to see. The other thing with a lot of these warnings is there are standards that dictate the language of some of these labels. What's mandatory, what's not mandatory. They're ANSI standards. Words have meaning that are well defined in the case of warning labels. And what we often see in product manuals and warning labels is manufacturers are using advisory language that's non-mandatory language, like should. Like, I should have had a salad for lunch.
Well,
that doesn't mean I have to have one,
right?
So they're using non-mandatory language on these warning labels and in their manuals when that doesn't necessitate compliance. It's a should situation instead of a shall or a must.
So when I have a case where somebody's had damages because of a failure of one of these products and they say, no, we put a warning on, you help say either that warning wasn't visible or it didn't meet the standard or didn't use the right language.
Right, and sometimes it does. Sometimes it checks all the boxes and okay, that's fair. But a lot of times what we're seeing is that it doesn't conform with the standard. It's not visible. There's no contrast. The font is too small to be read at the distances that these things are commonly installed.
Yeah, so interesting and so helpful when we're pursuing cases. Again, I'm Jason Sullivan here at Marco Island at the NASP conference. Here with Mike Jacob of Veritas. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jason.
That's the long and short of it.